Unawaan niyo po yun?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Nakakain na po kayo.
Hindi pa po.
Bakit di ka kumain?
Later na lang po.
Yes,
May
Your
ganun.
Honor. Nag-rely po ako sa aming security.
IF. Anyway, Attorney May, your witness. You may continue with your direct examination when you're ready.
Your Honor,
Likewise,
Sorry.
Yes, Attorney Christine, you want to say
Your Honor,
something?
please, yes. Just a quick manifestation, Your
Yes, Attorney May.
Honor. We note that the witness has been interpreting documents, Your Honor, which he did not participate in the drafting and preparation of. So, we don't dispute the contents of those documents, Your Honor. In fact, we can stipulate on the amounts. We already stipulated actually on the amounts, on the signature, Your Honor. So may we inquire if that's the line of questioning that the counsel would follow? Because if the questioning, if the questioning would refer to the amounts, to the number of days, etc., just to abbreviate the proceedings, we can stipulate on those, Your Honor.
I think in relation to her offer, counsel, which you will not, I'm sure, be willing to stipulate. Counsel for the prosecution wants to establish that, as she stated in her offer, that the explanations for the expenses in relation to confidential funds, she used the word sham, that they were prepared before, they even requested for it, and that it's almost all the same, involving the same amounts, and consumed the entire amount, which I'm sure you're not willing to stipulate at this point, counsel.
We're not going to stipulate on that, Your Honor. But
Even if I were in your position, I won't.
yes, Your Honor. But just to put it on record, Your Honor, the witness already stated that he had no participation in the execution of certain documents like the PFP and the accomplishment reports. And yet, he has been questioned about those documents, including his interpretation thereof. So,
If I may-
Your Honor,
During the
If I may
lull,
just, Your
if I
Honor.
may, counsels, during the lull, some senator judges were also discussing and talking. I think most, if not all, Attorney May get the point that you have been trying to drive at in relation to the liquidation report, the PFP, with the exception of the disbursement voucher that Mr. Ortonio signed. That while he's aware of them, he had no part in its preparation. And indeed, you have been using this witness to read some of the contents of the documents, albeit the document should speak for itself, but we do get that point. Kindly proceed to the other purposes of your offer. I believe there are about 2 or 3 more that you have not yet established through this witness. Because insofar as that is concerned, I think the senator judges get the point that you're driving at. You want to prove through this witness in the documents, supposedly, that the items in the liquidation report are almost the same with some variations, that the amounts are almost the same, that the totals are the same with some variations as well, and that the plan was prepared on dates before they made the request. Even the 11-day period, I think, the court has already taken notice of that as well, even from the previous witness's testimony. So kindly proceed, counsel, and you don't have to skip that part, but kindly abbreviate that part and move on to your other offers that you wish to establish through this witness. Your witness, Ms. Attorney May.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon again, Mr. Ortonio.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Earlier, you admitted that in 2022, your request for confidential funds was for 250 million, correct?
Yes, for 250 million.
But eventually, the amount given was only 125 million, correct?
Yes.
And yet, in the 2022 accomplishment report, what is reported is that there was still 100% implementation of activities. Tama ho ba?
If we will be,
Your Honor, please. Your Honor, please.
I'm sorry, Counsel.
Can the witness be shown the document, Your Honor?
Yes,
Yes, Your Honor.
assisting counsels have been given continuing authority to so approach and show the witness the documents in order to confront the witness with the document.
sorry again, ma'am, the question, ma'am.
You reported in that accomplishment report for 2022, inulat nyo na 100% pa rin ang implementation ng projects. Tama ba?
Based on the utilization that was submitted and prepared, ma'am, it indicated 100% implementation.
Okay. Ibig sabihin, Mr. Ortonio, tama ba na there was full implementation of the project gamit ang kalahati ng budget na inyong hiningi? Tama ba?
Sorry again, ma'am.
There was still full implementation of the activities for half the budget that you requested.
Ma'am, if based on the document, ma'am, 100% for the 125, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Sige. Punta na tayo ngayon, Mr. Ortonio, sa replies to the AOM. Ngayon, sumagot ka, ikaw mismo sumagot sa AOM number 2023-211 dated September 14, 2023. Tama ba?
For September 14, 2023 and October
3,
3,
2023. Tama. Okay. Pero, you will confirm na yung mga AOMs na yon addressed kay Respondent Vice President, attention kay Ms. Acosta at Ms. Villa del Rey. Tama ba?
That's correct, ma'am.
In short, hindi naka-address sa'yo ang mga AOMs na sinagot mo. Tama ba?
That's correct, ma'am.
Noong hearing, noong November 25, 2024, sinabi mo na wala kang personal na kaalaman sa aktual na paggastos ng confidential funds ng OVP. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct, ma'am.
At sa pagkakaalam mo, alam din to ng Vice President. Tama ba?
Wait, alam ng Vice President, ma'am, that I do not know of anything.
Or that you do not have any personal participation, as you claim, doon sa paggastos ng confidential funds.
Yes, ma'am.
Gayunpaman, ikaw ang tinalaga ng Vice President na tumugon sa mga audit observation memoranda na bananggit mo. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am. For audit observations, ma'am, it's usually either the Assistant Chief of Staff or the Chief of Staff who
Okay.
responds on behalf of the agency.
Okay. Regardless kung may kaalaman ang Chief of Staff at Assistant Chief of Staff, yan ang sinasabi mo.
As representative of the organization, ma'am.
Okay. Ngayon, ipapakita sa iyo ang mga sulat ng OVP sa COA na may petsang Oktubre 19, 2023, November 30, 2023, April 19, 2024, August 27, 2024. Ito ang mga naging tugon mo sa lahat ng audit observation memoranda ng Commission on Audit. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am. Just note, ma'am, that for the 3 other documents, ma'am, I'm just one of the signatories.
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes. But a signatory nonetheless. Yes. Okay. Ngayon, sa mga AOMs na inisyo ng COA sa liquidation ng OVP para sa lahat ng quarters na iyong sinagot, pinuna nito ang mga PFP na isinumite ng OVP dahil hindi nakasaad ang tiyak na confidential activity na paggagamitan ng confidential funds. Tama ba?
Based on the AOM, ma'am.
Yes. At sa inyo namang sulat to the COA, yung mga sulat na that you were confronted with, ipinagtanggol nyo itong PFP na ito. Tama ba?
Yes.
Sinabi nyo na and I quote, "There's no specific guideline on the details of confidential activities to be indicated."
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Based on the annexes of the JC, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the joint circular. Now, Mr. Ortonio, may I invite you to Article 4.2 of the joint circular, which states, and I quote, "All allocations of confidential funds and/or intelligence funds shall be supported with a fiscal and financial plan indicating the proposed amount allocated for each program, activity, and project where disbursements pertaining to confidential expenses and intelligence expenses shall be based." End of quote.
Sorry, ma'am, what provision again, ma'am?
4.2.
4.2. Okay, ma'am. Yes.
At inaamin mo na, tulad ng pag-amin mo kanina, yung mga PFP na ito, na inyong sinumite, tanging ang isinasaad lamang ay yung mga umbrella programs, na good governance program and socio-economic delivery programs. Tama ba?
Based on the documents that was prepared, ma'am, it
Yes.
only indicated the umbrella programs.
Okay. Ngunit inamin nyo na rin nang ang dalawang ito ay mga pawang umbrella programs lamang at may kanya-kanyang individual programs sa ilalim nito. Tama ba?
Ma'am, for the programs, ma'am, that was indicated, I can say, ma'am, that there are specific programs based on the regular funding. But as to the activities...
That is not a question, Mr. Ortonio. Ang tinatanong ko lamang sa inyo, yung dalawang programs na to, yung umbrella programs nito, dahil sila ay umbrella programs lamang, meron tong mga particular programs under these umbrella programs. Correct?
Ma'am, if we are talking about the regular budget, ma'am, yes, there are specific activities under those programs.
And even, you would confirm, ikaw din ang nag-submit sa COA ng mga protective the intelligence operations reports. Tama ba?
Again, ma'am,
Protective intelligence operations reports or yung mga PIORs, di ba?
as the I am the designated liaison officer for the confidential funds, ma'am. And yes, I submitted documents, ma'am, in a sealed envelope, ma'am.
Yes. When you say documents, those documents include the PIORs. Tama ba? Kasama doon. Sa sinubmit mo, yung mga PIORs. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am, in response as an attachment to the response to the AOM.
In fact, and I would assume, binasa mo rin ito, mga PIORs na to, bago mo ito sinumite.
Unfortunately, ma'am, I was not able to read the reports, ma'am, because these are sealed already, ma'am. I submitted the documents only, ma'am, to the COA.
Okay. Tinanong mo rin ba, sinabi mo kanina, na nakikipag-coordinate ka kay La Chica, sa security officer at sa special disbursing officer. Tama ba?
Yes, I
Tinanong mo ba
coordinated
sa kanila kung ano ang nilalaman ng PIORs na ito?
No, I did not anymore
You did not.
ask, ma'am.
Okay. Now, dun sa AOMs din, na iyong sinagot, pinuna din ng Commission on Audit yung line item na medical and food aid. Tama ba?
Yes.
At sinabi ng COA sa kanilang audit observation memoranda ng line item na ito ay hindi allowable sa gastusin ng confidential funds sa ilalim ng joint circular. Tama ba?
Based on the AOM, ma'am,
Yes.
and we were able to send our reply to this issue or concern.
And you justified the inclusion of that line item. Pinagtanggol nyo, dun sa sagot nyo sa AOMs, pinagtanggol nyo yung pagsama ng line item na ito sa inyong accomplishment reports. Tama ba?
Yes, we were able to explain it through our reply.
Sinabi ninyo na pinapayagan ito sa ilalim ng 4.8.4 na sumasaklaw sa purchase or rental of supplies, materials, and equipment for confidential operations. Tama ba?
Yes.
And you will also confirm na itong pera, supposedly for the purchase of rentals of supplies, materials, and equipment for confidential operations, hindi kayo gumastos. Ibig sabihin, yung supposed supplies, materials, and equipment, hindi ang OVP ang bumili nito. Tama ba?
Based on the information that was provided to me by the security officer, payments were made directly to the informants or the agents.
At tama rin kukumpirmahin mo rin ba na wala kang nakita kahit anumang official receipt sa pagbili ng kahit alin dito sa mga tinutukoy na supplies na to? Unahin natin sa medicine. Wala kang nakitang kahit anong official receipt mula sa kahit alinmang drugstore, pharmacy, o supplier. Tama ba?
I was not able to see, ma'am, any ORs.
Yes. Okay. And you will also agree na sa pangkalahatan, ang pagbili ng gamot at pagkain ay ginagawa sa regular na proseso, pang araw-araw. Ibig sabihin, bibili mula sa sources like drugstores, pharmacy, at ang bumibili naman ay i-issuehan ng karampatang official receipt. Tama ba?
Sorry, ma'am. The question, so this is in parang
Purchase.
the usual
Yes,
purchase.
the usual
Yes,
purchase.
if it's for the usual purchase, yes, bibili ka and then you are given a receipt.
At hindi mo na tinanong si Ms. Acosta at ang security officer na iyong nabanggit kung nasaan ang supposed official receipts bilang patunay na ito nga ay nabili, mga supplies na ito.
Ma'am, the explanation that was provided to me, ma'am, was that binigay po ang pera directly doon sa mga informants and agents, and the informants and agents na po yung bumili ng mga medical and food supplies. So, it's the acknowledgement receipt, which is the proof of the release of the funds to the informants or the agents.
In short, ang sinasabi mo, kahit si Ginang Acosta at ang Special Disbursing Officer, walang nahawakan kahit isa mang official receipt para sa supposed purchases na ito.
Ma'am, as
Yes.
to the exactness, ma'am, no, kung meron ba silang nahawakan na official receipt, that I cannot provide an answer po.
But at the end of the day, wala silang binigay sa'yo, pina-explain mo sila, pero wala pa rin silang binigay na official receipt. Kahit anong official receipt for any of these supposed purchases.
Wala po silang nabigay na official receipts, ma'am, but there were acknowledgement receipts, ma'am, that were provided.
You will also confirm na yung OVP, alinsunod sa mga proyekto nito, ginagawa naman ito na bumili ng mga medisina. Tama ba?
Yes, we do
Yes.
have our funding for
Yes.
purchase of supplies.
In fact, sa item 1, noong sulat dated August 22, 2022, humingi kayo ng 144.72 million in regular funds for the OVP's Medical Assistance Program. Tama ba?
Yes, that's for the medical and burial assistance, ma'am, but that is
Okay.
for the regular activities of the office.
At nung binili niyo yon, in fact, dun sa letter ninyo dated August 22, 2022, may nilaki pa kayo na lingguhang accounting ng mga benepisyaryo ng halaga na inyong hiningi. inihingi. Tama ba?
For the projection, ma'am.
Yes, for the projection. Yung letter nyo din, noong September 19, 2021, kahit yun, may nakalakip na transmittal na the submitted computation and forecasting which says, and I quote, the submitted computation and forecasting the requirement for medical assistance. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am. But again, ma'am, that is for the regular activities of the office, for the medical and burial program.
Okay. In short, Mr. Ortonio, maaari sana na ang OVP sa pamamagitan ng SDO ang bumili ng mga gamot at ibigay na lamang ito sa mga umano'y informants. Tama ba?
Your Honor, please.
Counsel?
Speculative, Your Honor.
Your Honor, just because the question is premised or couched as an if question doesn't mean it's automatically speculative. It only becomes speculative, Your Honor, if it requires the witness to make a conjecture without reference to any prior admitted facts, Your Honor.
Your
Here,
Honor,
if I may,
With the permission of counsels, I see your point, Attorney Christine, but Mr. Ortonio, pwede din bang, may binigyan kayo ng medicine, di ba? Sa regular budget ng OVP.
Yes po, we do have our medical and burial program, Your
At
Honor.
yung binibigyan nyo ng medicine at burial program, cash out.
What we do po at that time is that binibili po namin yung medicine sa partner pharmacies of the
Okay.
OVP, and then we release it to the clients who approach the office for medical assistance
In the form of medicine na.
in the form of medicine.
So I presume itong binibili nyo gamit yung regular budget, may resibo to.
Yes, sir.
Ang ginamit nyo na pang food and medicines sa confidential fund, binigay nyo diretso sa recipient, and presumably sabi ng recipient, bibili ko ng pagkain to, bibili ko
Yes.
ng gamot to.
Based on the information, Your Honor, provided by the security officer, that's how it was. Ganun yung procedure on how the medical and food aid
So
was.
walang resibo yan.
Based on the information I gathered, sir, no official receipts was
Nakalagay ba sa acknowledgement receipt kung for food or for medicine yon, o kayo na lang yung nagtali na ito food, ito medicine?
Sir, unfortunately, sir, for the acknowledgement receipts, I was not able to see them personally, sir.
Not a single one?
No, sir. At that time, sir, I was not able to see any of the acknowledgement receipts.
One last question. Yung chairs, wala ring resibo yan?
Yung regarding for the chair, sir, based on the information also provided by the security officer, no receipt as well, sir, because the representation was that yun yung ipamimili nila for the tables and chairs.
So what you're saying is binigay din yung pera sa informant, quote unquote, that's your wording, para bumili siya ang bibili ng chairs at yun yung bayad sa kanya, quote unquote.
Yes, that's based on the information provided by the security officer.
Just one final question, Mr. Don. So literally, may informant, imbis na bigyan ng kung ano, binayaran ng cash para bilhin yung tables, yung chairs, yung food, yung medicine. Ganun.
Yes, sir, based on the information provided, sir.
By the security officer.
By the security
That's
officer.
yung kumbaga, yun yung kwento na binigay sa'yo.
That's based on the information that was provided by the
At
security
hiwalay pa
officer.
yon sa pinapamigay nyo na food and medical assistance sa regular budget ng OVP.
Yes, that's for the regular clients that yung public na mga clients that
When you
we
say
receive
clients, not informants.
Yes, sir.
Clients.
That's correct, sir.
Parokyano, yung regular na nagpupunta o humihingi ng tulong o dumudulog sa OVP.
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Your witness, counsel.
Okay.
I hope it gave you the opportunity to take some of the throat meds that some of the senator judges sent you. And I hope you can drink some warm water, counsel. You may continue, counsel.
Yes, Your Honor, in a bit I will be asking for time to take my salabat with me, Your Honor.
Yes, counsel, you may.
But in the meantime, Your Honor, I'll proceed to
Please continue.
I'll proceed with my examination. Okay. Going back to the audit observation memoranda na kanina in-identify mo na galing sa COA. Dito sa audit observation memoranda na ito, particularly Prosecution's Exhibit P-I-12-A and P-I-12-B and P-I-12-E. Dito sa tatlong AOMs na to, flinag din ng Commission on Audit or pinuna din ng Commission on Audit yung payment of incentives or traveling sa mga accomplishment reports. Ayon sa COA, hindi rin ito allowable na gastusin ng confidential funds sa ilalim ng Joint Circular. Tama ba?
That's what the AOM indicated, and we were able to send a reply as well.
And in your reply, you said it is justified under 4.8.2 ng Joint Circular bilang rental of transport vehicle related to confidential activities. Tama ba?
That's correct.
Yung salitang incentives, you will admit and you will agree na hindi ito mag-a-appear sa Joint Circular. Ito ay sa inyong sariling piniling salita. Tama ba?
Sorry again.
The word incentive, hindi mo ito makikita sa Joint Circular. In fact, etong salita na to, kayo lang ang gumamit nito. Kumbaga, kayo ang pumili ng salitang ito na ilalagay sa accomplishment report.
Based on the JC, that's not included po.
Okay. And based on the JC, yung incentives, yung salitang incentives, hindi lumalabas sa kahit anumang enumeration ng item 4.8 ng mga allowable confidential expenses. Tama ba?
Based on the JC, no, it does not appear.
Ngayon, nang mapuna ito ng COA sa AOM for the third quarter of 2023, saka lamang naging transportation expenses ang mga halaga na supposedly naka-allot for the supposed incentives. Tama ba?
Based on the report that was shown to me earlier, yes, but again, I would not have any idea on the preparation of the utilization report.
Okay. In fact, sa sagot nyo sa AOM, you invoked 4.8.2, which refers to rental of transport vehicle. At sa inyo namang sagot, sa notice of suspension, ang in-invoke nyo naman, ginamit nyo ang salitang van rentals and tracking services, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And what is more, sa sagot nyo sa notice of suspension, you confirmed, and I quote, the OVP did not make any payment for incentives, correct?
Based
And
on
of
the
course-
reply that we provided, yes, we confirmed.
Also, Mr. Otonio, you will confirm na in the course of your preparation, sa kurso ng pagpaprepare mo sa reply ng AOM na to, hanggang maging sa ngayon, wala kang nakita na kahit anong kontrata sa pagrenta ng sasakyan sa buong records ng OVP. Tama ba?
I do not have any document po.
Okay. Now, let's go to the certifications dated October 19, 2023, April 19, 2024, and August 27, 2024, which are prosecutions exhibit P-I-12-M, P-I-12-G, and P-I-12-K. Ikaw ang nagsumite ng mga certifications nito sa Commission on Audit kalakip ng inyong reply sa Audit Observation Memoranda.
Yes, this is part of the attachment to the replies.
At sinumitin nyo ito, sana bilang umano'y patunay ng surveillance activity. Dahil pare-parehong sinasabi ng mga nasabing certification na ito na walang untoward incident na nagawa or naganap sa implementation ng mga proyekto ng OVP at sa mga engagement mismo ng pangalawang Pangulo. Tama ba?
Yes po, that's correct.
In short, ginagamit nyo ang mga certification na ito bilang patunay na inyong opisina ay nagastos ng 125 million pesos. Sorry. In short, ginagamit nyo ito bilang patunay na ang nagastos ng 125 million ay nagresulta na walang untoward incident na nangyari dun sa mga not identified, but supposed confidential project.
As provided po by the security officer, this is the document that we attach to the replies.
But you will confirm that hindi mandato ng VP you will confirm na mandato talaga ng VP SPG na panatilihin ang seguridad ng Vice Presidente. Tama ba?
That's part of the duties and responsibilities of the VP SPG.
Correct. And you will also confirm na beginning October 2022 and during the entire relevant period, the Vice President already had at least 470 protective security personnel or protective agents. Tama ba?
As to the exact number, ma'am, of the VP SPG personnel, I cannot comment, ma'am, but there's a unit that handles the security of the VP, which is the VP SPG.
Let me refresh your memory, Mr. Ortonio. We will be showing you your letter to the DBM dated October 11, 2022, which is Prosecution's Exhibit P-I-4-D.
Yes, ma'am.
Diyan sa letter na yan, humihingi kayo ng addition o ng augmentation para sa special duty allowance ng VP SPG dahil tumaas ang bilang ng security officers and security or protective agents ng Vice President. Tama ba?
Yes.
Sinabi mo rin dyan sa letter na yan na as of October 10, 2022, the total count per roster of troops is 473.
Yes, ma'am. I mentioned, ma'am, na...
Yes.
I can-
Thank you, Mr. Ortonio. I'm satisfied with your answer. You will also confirm na nung una, humigit kumulang 95 lamang ang security personnel ng OVP. Tama ba? Kaya nga kayo humingi ng augmentation for special duty allowance dahil biglang nag-increase ito by almost 4-folds.
Ma'am,
Tama?
ma'am, I can only answer for the security deployment during the term of VP Sara, ma'am.
Correct. Hindi ba isinaad nyo rin dito sa letter na ito, in-explain nyo kasama ang letter dated August 22, 2022. Dito in-explain nyo bakit kayo humihingi ng special duty allowance.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sinabi nyo na from 95, tumaas nga ang bilang ng security
Yes, ma'am.
detail ng,
Yes, ma'am.
security officer or protective agent sa ilalim ng VP SPG. Ayon nga sa'yo, yung mandato ay protektahan at i-ensure ang seguridad ng Vice Presidente. Tama ba?
That's correct, ma'am.
Yes. Aaminin mo rin na yung security detail ng Vice Presidente, hindi ito mga karaniwang security guards. Ito ay miyembro ng AFP, at PNP. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am.
In
That's correct.
fact, sinabi mo rin, sa same letter na yan, na 364 ng karagdagang or ng security detail ng Vice Presidente ay mga miyembro ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. At 140 naman ay miyembro ng Philippine National Police. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Sa inyong kaalaman, Mr. Ortonio, meron bang ibang pangalawang pangulo sa history ng Pilipinas na nagkaroon ng ganito karaming security detail?
Ma'am, I cannot
Objection.
comment on I cannot comment for the previous vice presidents, ma'am.
So you do not know. The answer is you do not know.
What I can say, ma'am, is I cannot comment, ma'am, because I have no personal knowledge.
You have no personal knowledge. That's correct. You will also confirm na yung special duty allowance na inyong hiningi, ito ay karagdagang allowance lamang para dito sa VP-SPG. Ibig sabihin, etong membro ng mga VP-SPG, kumukuha na ito or tumatanggap na ng sweldo mula sa AFP sa ilalim ng General Appropriations Act for the members of the AFP, at yung mga miyembro naman ng PNP tumatanggap ng sahod mula sa PNP. Kung alam ninyo,
Your
Mr.
Honor,
Ortonio.
please.
Counsel?
I will have to object, Your Honor, because counsel has not shown the relevance of the salaries of VP-SPG to the confidential funds. And in fact, there was no finding from the COA regarding this matter.
Okay, on 2 points, Your Honor.
Kindly comment, Counsel.
First, Your Honor, the fact that this was not flagged by the COA does not preclude this honorable court from making a finding on whether it is irregular or not. Number 2, Your Honor, it's very relevant, Your Honor, because their primary justification for the confidential funds is for ensuring the security of the Vice President, which is already governed by the mandate of the VP-SPG. In short, Your Honor, they requested funds, additional funds, for an item that is already answered for
Quick reply,
by
Your Honor.
the mandate of the
Let her finish,
VP-SPG, and which is already paid for from a separate funding, Your Honor.
Quick
Yes,
reply, Your Honor.
Attorney Hussein?
The issue on the VP-SPG salary, Your Honor, being allegedly covered by the confidential funds is not among the allegations in the articles of impeachment. Neither was this matter alleged in the impeachment complaints. Number 2, the impeachment court only relies on the findings of the COA, Your Honor. That's the reason why the COA was placed on the witness stand and testify on its matters, Your Honor. With all due respect, the matter of determining whether the salaries were indeed covered by the confidential funds is a matter outside the powers of the impeachment court to determine, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may just reply, just to set the record straight, Your Honor, because the
Brief
prosecution
reply,
never...
Counsel, before the Chair makes a ruling. Please continue.
Sorry. Your Honor, at no point and at no time did the prosecution say that the confidential funds were used to pay for the salary of the VP-SPG. What we are saying, Your Honor, is that the VP-SPG is already paid from a separate account, from a separate fund, salary for the purpose of affording or providing protection to the Vice President. Now, Your Honor, they requested for funds, additional funds to pay for the very same protection.
Your Honor, please.
That's already being
Counsel is testifying, Your Honor.
that's already being afforded by
Actually,
the VP-SPG.
counsels, please. Actually, Attorney May, you already were able to actually say what you want to say on the record based on your comments on the objection. I will have to sustain the objection of counsel for respondent. The salary of the VP-SPG is irrelevant because the confidential funds cannot be used to pay for the salaries of for security, and if at all, to buy confidential information, if at all, which has also been shown to have been done. We see the point, Counsel, Attorney May, that the Vice President has 473 security personnel already, that, as you stated in your offer, should be doing the job that they're spending this confidential fund for. However, the witness has already answered that he may not be in a position to answer that question specifically. Continue with your point.
Thank you, Your
Move
Honor.
on, Attorney May.
Mr. Antonio, you will also confirm na sa inyong sulat na may petsang August 22, 2022, sinabi nyo na as early as July 1, 2022, 7 OVP satellite office na ang naitatag ng Office of the Vice President. Ito yung mga satellite offices sa Bacolod, Cebu, Dagupan, Davao, Surigao, Tacloban, at Zamboanga. Tama ba?
Yes, that's correct.
At nung bawat isa nito, sinabi ninyo, and I quote, are catering to an average of 100 to 150 clients per day. Tama ba?
Yes, that's correct.
You will also agree na walang naiulat na untoward incident sa rollout ng mga satellite offices na yon bago ang December 21, 2022. Tama ba?
In terms of the operations within the satellite office, no untoward incidents.
Okay. And you will confirm that during the rollout of the satellite offices, wala pang confidential funds ang Office of the Vice President. Tama ba?
During this time, ma'am.
Wala
During
pa.
this time.
Okay. And you will also confirm na beginning fourth quarter of 2023 up to the present, you continue to roll out satellite offices and projects under your umbrella programs, the Good Governance Program, the Socio-Economic Delivery Program. Tama ba?
Yes.
And up to this time, wala ding naiuulat na untoward incident sa mga rollout ng mga proyektong ito. Tama ba?
Yes.
Yes. Now, etong certification, which is prosecution evidence, P-I-12-M, nakasulat dito na this, and I quote, this certification is being issued upon the request of the Office of the Vice President for whatever legal purpose it may serve. End of quote. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am,
Yes.
based on the document.
Based on the document. Kung gayon, hindi ito record na iniingatan sa karaniwang takbo ng gawain ng Office of the Vice President. In short, this is not a record kept in the ordinary business of the Office of the Vice President. Yes?
Yes, I would say so.
Yes. The certification was only produced upon request. Tama ba? Based on that
Ma'am,
document.
for this specific document, ma'am, I cannot say that it is upon request, ma'am. I cannot, based on my understanding,
Even
I
if
cannot
it's-
assume.
Even if it is expressly stated in this document that this certification is being issued upon the request of the Office of the Vice President, hindi mo rin masasabi na issued to upon the request.
Asked and answered, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, that's just a follow-up, Your Honor.
Witness will answer.
I cannot automatically assume, ma'am, na it is made because through a request, just merely because of a statement that indicates na based on a request.
Okay, so ibig sabihin mo, maaring nagkamali lang yung explicit statement
Your
na to.
Honor, please.
No.
Your Honor.
What's the basis of the
Misleading,
objection?
Your Honor. Maaaring nagkamali lang.
How is it misleading?
Or
Your Honor?
argumentative.
Argumentative.
Or argumentative, sustained.
Okay.
That's the witness answer, counsel, however unacceptable it may, or unacceptable it may be.
Also, in those 4 certifications that you were earlier confronted with, wala ring nakasulat na amount, wala ring nakasulat na pangalan na pinagbigyan ng confidential funds, walang sinasabi kung saan ginastos basically yung confidential funds na pinapatunguhan dyan sa 4 na certifications na yan. Tama ba?
Based on the document, ma'am, no, it does not indicate.
Okay. Also, Mr. Antonio, can you please refer to Exhibit P-I-12-M? This is the first certification. Do you see that?
Yes.
You will confirm na yung period na sakop ng certification na yan ay December 20 to December 31. Tama ba?
Based on the document, ma'am, yes, it indicates 20 to 31.
Pero ang mismong liquidation, kung saan nyo inilakip yung certification na yan, ang period na sakop ay December 21 hanggang December 31 lamang.
31.
Tama.
Yes, based on the documents that were
So in
submitted.
short, may 1 day na covered ng certification na hindi covered ng liquidation. Tama ba?
If you will base it, ma'am, based on my understanding, if you will base it on the liquidation report, merong isang araw.
Merong isang araw. Thank you. Your Honor, may I just have 1 minute, Your Honor, to
Please,
take a
counsel,
sip from
take your
my
salabat, counsel.
salabat ko.
You may also do the same, Mr. Ortonio.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. May I proceed, Your Honor? Okay, Mr. Ortonio, balikan natin yung sulat ninyo dated November 30, 2023. Which is Prosecution's Exhibit P-I-12-D. It's already there. It's already with you.
P dash
I-12-D.
Yes, ma'am.
Diyan sa same letter na yan, sinabi nyo, and I quote, the OVP identified, okay. Sa letter na yan, sinikap nyong ipaliwanag ang pangangailangan nyo for confidential funds. Sinabi ninyo, and I quote, the OVP identified the need for the conduct of surveillance activities to enable to craft narrowly targeted and responsive programs that would ensure peace and order and prevent criminal activities, particularly those of organized criminal groups and communist insurgents. End of quote. Ngunit, you will confirm sa parehong sulat ninyo dated August 22, 2022, inamin nyo na nga na noong July 1 pa lamang, bago pa humiling ang OVP ng confidential funds, natukoy na ng OVP, sorry, in that same letter, I'm referring to that same letter. In that same letter, inamin nyo na as early as July 1, 2022, bago pa humiling ang OVP ng confidential funds, natukoy na ng OVP ang mga programa at aktibidad na nakatuon sa poverty alleviation, magabanta sa kapayapaan at kaayusan, at pagsulong ng kaunlarang pang-ekonomiya. Tama ba?
Yes, that's indicated in the letter.
Dagdag nyo pa, bilang katwiran, I quote, it was necessary to conduct surveillance activities to determine where best to implement its programs to maximize their impact and reach the isolated, underserved, and unserved areas. As such, in August 2022, the OVP submitted a request through the DBM for confidential fund budget for surveillance activities which are intended to support the mandate and operations of the OVP. End of quote. Tama ba?
Yes, that's correct, ma'am.
Subalit, yung sa balik tayo sa letter nyo dated August 22, 2022, which is Prosecution's Exhibit P-I-4-A. You will confirm na dun sa paliwanag nyo, sa paghingi nyo ng confidential funds, nowhere there, o wala kahit saan man dyan, lumalabas ang salitang surveillance. Tama ba?
Based on the letter that we submitted, ma'am, there's no indication of the word surveillance.
Dahil nga, ang purpose na sinabi ninyo ay, and I quote, for in consideration of the safe implementation of the various projects and activities under the Good Governance Program and the conduct of official engagements and functional representation. Diyan sa same letter na yan, hindi rin sinabi na gagamitin ng confidential funds para sa identification of areas for program implementation. Tama ba?
It is not specifically stated, ma'am, in the letter, ma'am. Although in the letter, ma'am, there's already in consideration for the safe implementation of various projects and activities
Yes.
under the good governance.
Pero hindi sinabi dito na the confidential funds will specifically be used for identification of areas for program implementation.
Based on the letter request, ma'am, there's no specific explanation, ma'am.
And the explanation given was in fact for the safe implementation of OVP initiatives and confidence building.
Yes,
Tama ba?
based on the letter request, ma'am, that's the wordings that were indicated.
And also, if you will refer to the fiscal and financial plan that you subsequently submitted to the DBM, sinabi nyo pa, nilagay nyo, sinaad nyo sa physical target, number of identified areas with surveillance conducted and monitored. Di ba?
If we will base it in the document,
Yes.
ma'am, yes.
So in short, kahit hindi nakalagay ang bilang, meron ng mga identified areas. May mga lugar nang natukoy dun sa physical and financial plan. Tama ba?
Ma'am, I cannot directly answer, ma'am, if there were identified areas already when the PFP was crafted, ma'am.
Okay. So punta na lang tayo ngayon sa August 22, dun sa dating August 22, 2022 letter. Na inamin mo nga, na as early as July 1, 2022, meron ng 7 satellite office na naitalaga. Sa Bacolod, Cebu, Dagupan, Davao, Surigao, Tacloban, Zamboanga. Tama ba?
Yes, based on the letter that we submitted.
Okay. And in that same letter, naglaki pa kayo ng Annex A na parehong sulat ng actual na benepisyaryo ng medical assistance linggo-linggo mula unang linggo ng July 22 hanggang sa mga sumusunod na panahon. Tama ba?
Yes, this is the projection that we submitted.
At nakalimbag din sa item 3 ng same letter na yan na 3 pang karagdagang satellite office. Ang augmentation ng libreng sakay, 3 OVP food truck, at Peace 911 sa Marawi. Tama ba?
Yes, that's indicated in item number 3 for the additional positions.
Okay, so even before the confidential funds were released or bago pa mailabas ang confidential funds, meron na kayong mga na-identify na paglalagyan ng mga satellite offices. Tama ba?
Yes, there were plans already
And pagro-rolloutan ng mga programa ng OVP.
for
Tama ba?
activities.
Diyan sa November 30, 2023 letter din ninyo, sinabi nyo, and I quote, the OVP opened exploratory talks on the surveillance activities to be conducted and identified information agents to be engaged. The OVP built its information database and established a network of information agents. As such, when the requested confidential funds was released on December 13, 2022 through SARO BMB-C-22-001-2004, the OVP was able to finalize definitive agreements and obligations based on the plan. End of quote. Inilarawan ninyo sa sulat na yan ng exploratory talks, tama ba?
Yes, this is based on the information from our security officer.
Sinabi nyo rin, information agent na identified kasama ng information database, network of information agents. Tama ba?
Yes, as provided by our security officer.
Okay. Again, wala ni isa man dito ang nabanggit sa August 2022 confidential fund request. Tama ba?
Based on the initial request, no information indicated.
At wala rin kahit alin man dito ang lumalabas sa PFP for 2022. Tama ba?
When you say, you mean, ma'am, yung...
These items, these words, information database, network information agents, identified agents, walang kahit anuman na lumalabas.
Yes, ma'am. Based on the document presented earlier, ma'am, no such wordings, ma'am.
Okay, hindi rin kayo nakilahok sa supposed exploratory talks na ito. Binatay nyo lamang ito sa kung anong inireport sa inyo. Tama ba?
I had no participation, ma'am, because on matters of security, ma'am, that is not my expertise, ma'am. So this is from our security officer.
Okay. In that same letter, as I've mentioned and as I've read, binanggit nyo rin finalized definitive agreements.
Yes.
Pero wala kayong ni isang isinabmit din na kahit isang definitive agreement. Kahit isa sa mga definitive agreements na inyong tinutukoy dito sa inyong November 30, 2023 letter. Tama ba?
Ma'am, when you pertain to definitive agreements, ma'am, you mean documented agreements, ma'am?
Yes. Kasi para maging definitive agreements, kailangan cast in stones. Ibig sabihin, nakasulat siya.
Ma'am, in terms of any documentation or documented agreements, ma'am, there were no documents that were provided, ma'am. And as to how our agreements were made on the ground, ma'am, again, I cannot provide any information.
You will confirm that from the time the SARO was released on December 13 to the drawdown of the check noong December 20, 2022, itong araw lamang ang naglapse. Ang posisyon ba ng inyong opisina sa loob ng 7 araw na iyon na finalize ninyo ang definitive agreements sa supposed nationwide network ng mga ahente na inyong binanggit sa inyong letter?
Ma'am, as to how the agreements were finalized or made, ma'am, that I cannot provide an answer, ma'am, if those were done within the 7-day period.
Okay. In that same letter, for the first time, you also denied that the 2022 confidential funds were spent in just 11 days. And your explanation was, and I quote, on December 20, 2022, a cash advance for confidential fund was drawn to facilitate payment. Please take note of these words. For the obligations already incurred. Hence, the 125 million confidential funds were fully utilized for expenses planned, implemented, and paid during the 3-month period, meaning October to December 22, and not within mere 11 days, as what the audit observations may have suggested. End of quote. Nakalagay yan sa inyong sagot.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in terms of...
No, it's okay, Mr. Ortonio. I'm satisfied with your answer.
Your Honor, please.
Yes, Counsel?
Can the witness be allowed to answer?
Your Honor, the witness already satisfied the
The
question.
question was
It's
answerable
already
by yes or
answered.
no. You will be afforded your chance, Attorney Christine, during your cross to make him explain that point.
So you
Proceed,
mentioned...
Counsel.
you mentioned earlier, obligations, quote-unquote, already incurred and expenses already paid. So, ibig sabihin, ng already incurred, ay nangako ng magbayad ang OVP bago pa mailabas ang pera. Tama ba?
Ma'am, I cannot specifically say, ma'am, because arrangements made on the ground, ma'am, I have no personal knowledge on it.
Pero ilumagda ka sa letter na yan, di ba?
Yes, ma'am. Again, ma'am, this information, ma'am, came from the information from our security officer, ma'am.
So, ibig sabihin, sinulat mo lang, mechanically, eksaktong words na finid sa'yo ng kausap mo. Ganun ba? Na hindi mo naintindihan kung ano yung sinusulat. Tama
Ma'am,
ba?
First, ma'am, hindi po siya mechanically na sinulat ko lang po kung ano yung sinabi. Of course, ma'am, based on the information that was provided to me, ma'am, yun yung nilatag ko doon
Yun
sa
yung
letter,
nilatag mo.
ma'am, for the drafting of the letter.
Counsel, allow me. Kayo po ang gumawa ng sulat, Ginoong Ortonio, di ba? Pumirma kayo.
Yes.
Kayo
Yes, Your
gumawa?
Honor.
Kayo po ang gumawa ng sulat?
Yes, Your Honor.
Base sa nakuha niyo impormasyon kay Gina, kay Colonel Lachica, at iba pang opisyal. Ano pong ibig sabihin niyo dyan sa pahayag niyo yan? To facilitate payment for the obligations already incurred. Ibig sabihin, may utang na, babayaran na lang. Na-incur na yung expense, babayaran na lang.
Sir, based on what was shared to me, sir, hindi siya utang, no? But arrangements have been done on mga activities that will be done, and then the payment will be done once the money would be available already.
Mr. Ortonio, what do you mean by obligations already incurred? Anong ibig sabihin para sa inyo nung sinulat niyo yon? Obligations already incurred. Sa
Arrangements.
simpleng salita, bayarin.
Ano, sir, what I meant on this statement, sir, is that there are already arrangements that have been coordinated, sir, prior to the release of the funds.
When you say arrangements nga, may pinangako ng bayaran, hindi pa lang nababayaran. Bayarin. Obligations already incurred. May obligasyon na. May pangako na bayaran. Yun ba yan?
Sir, hindi siya pangako, sir, na bayaran, but meron na siyang mga, how do I explain it, sir? Parang meron ng arrangement, sir, that will be done, and then yung payment, sir, will be once available na siya.
Sir, in the ordinary course of meaning, that's how you define obligations already incurred that you wrote?
Yes, sir. Based on how I understand the information, sir, that's how I indicated it in the letter.
That's his answer, counsel. You may proceed.
Okay, but you will confirm that on those 3 months referred to in your letter, October, November, and November, pati early parts ng December, wala pang allotment na maaaring pagbasihan ng OVP ng obligasyon ng confidential funds. Tama ba?
There was
Yes.
no allotment as of
Yes.
yet.
Kung gayon, wala ding certification of availability of funds na maaaring nailabas para sa mga obligasyon na yon. Tama ba? Yes.
There was no document yet released, ma'am.
Okay. Alam nyo din, Mr. Tonyo, dahil sa tagal ng inyong paninilbihan bilang kawani ng gobyerno, alam ninyo na walang obligasyon ng gobyerno na maaaring pasukin na walang appropriation at katumbas na allotment. Tama ba?
That's correct, ma'am.
At alam din ninyo, base doon sa joint circular na iyong paulit-ulit na sinite sa mga letters ninyo, alam ninyo na ang cash advance ay dapat mauna sa gastos. Tama ba?
That's correct, ma'am.
Hindi ito maaaring legal na gamitin para i-reimburse o pantakip sa mga gastusing na gawa na. Tama ba?
For reimbursements, ma'am, yes,
Yes.
that's indicated in the
Yes.
JC.
Okay, thank you. Now, pumunta na tayo sa your reply to notice of suspension. Ikaw din sumagot sa reply. Ikaw din ang sumagot sa notice of suspension. Di ba?
Yes, ma'am. I'm
I'm
one of the
referring to
signatories.
the notice of suspension that I'm referring to is prosecution's exhibit P-I-13-A. Dito sa notice of suspension na to, pinuna ng COA, and I quote, "There is discrepancy in the total amount of expenses based on the submitted accomplishment report as against the DEPs." Ibig sabihin ng COA, hindi nagtutugma ang total amount ng expenses sa accomplishment report at sa DEPs na sinubmit ng inyong opisina. Tama ba?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
Ayon sa COA, ipinakita ng accomplishment report na iyong sinumite na ginamit ang confidential fund sa mga gastusing may kabuuhan ng 125 million pesos. Pero pagdating sa DEPs, nang itotal na ito, ang gastusing actual na naganap ay may kabuuhang 125,150,000 pesos. Tama ba?
Yes po, that's correct.
In short, may pagkakaibang 150,000.
Yes.
At nung sumagot kayo, dyan sa notice of suspension na yan, I'm referring to your letter dated March 13, 2024, which is Prosecution's Exhibit P-I-13-A. Sa sagot ninyo, ang paliwanag ninyo ay yung mga resibo, I quote, "may have been inadvertently mixed." Tama ba? Yan yung paliwanag nyo dun sa 150,000 pesos.
Yes, that's correct. Based on our reply.
But 9 days later, sumulat ka ulit sa COA supplementing that earlier reply. Your supplemental reply is dated March 22, 2024, which is Prosecution Exhibit P-I-13-B. Now, dyan sa supplemental reply, ipinaliwanag niyong muli yung discrepancy ng 150,000. Ngayon, ang paliwanag ninyo, I quote, "The reconciliation shows that an amount of 50 pesos under payment of reward and an amount of 100,000 pesos under purchase of supplies were provided by Assistant Secretary Lemuel G. Ortonio out of his personal funds." Tama ba? But do you recall making that statement in your supplemental reply, Mr.
Yes.
Ortonio?
Based on
Yes.
the
Yes.
information also flashed on the screen. Yes.
Sa'yo galing yung 100. Ikaw yung Lemuel G. Ortonio, Assistant Secretary na pinapatunguhan. I mean, nire-refer dito sa sulat na ito. Tama ba?
That's correct po.
So alam mo rin, dahil ikaw ang nag-abot ng pera, alam mo rin kung kailan siya inabot. Kung kailan siya binigay. Tama ba? Yes? So by the time that you prepared your initial response to the notice of suspension, your letter dated March 13, 2024, yung Exhibit P-I-13-A na sa inyong tiningnan kanina, at that point, alam niyo na rin na nagbigay ka ng 150,000 pesos. Tama ba?
But I had
Yes.
to confirm first with our special disbursing officer at the time. So we needed to make a reply. So we sent an initial reply and submitted a supplemental reply.
So you are trying to say na ginawa mo yung letter dated March 13, 2024, nakapagbigay ka na ng explanation na hindi mo pa verify dun sa special disbursing officer. at sa security officer.
There is already a coordination.
There was already a
Yes,
coordination.
but
Pero hindi mo na itanong. Naitanong mo lamang 9 days later.
that's why we submitted a supplemental reply
Supplemental.
to ensure that we provide the proper information.
At sinabi nyo pa rito, that was due to the urgency of the expenses. So ibig sabihin, may sinabi sa inyong expenses na urgent kaya humingi ng 150,000. In short, pinaliwanag sa'yo kung bakit humingi ng 150,000. Yes?
Ang
Yes.
nilapit po ito sa akin ni Miss Gina Acosta, our
At sinabi
SDO.
niya.
And then she mentioned that there was a request from Colonel Chica for
And,
an
urgent,
urgent.
and there was urgency for that
Yes.
request. Diba? At hindi rin karaniwan na may hihingi sa'yo ng 150,000 from your own pocket. Hindi naman to karaniwang ginagawa sa OVP or karaniwan ba ito?
No, it's not
No.
common.
Okay. Pero nung gumagawa ka ng notice of suspension, bigla mong nakalimutan na merong 150,000. Sinabi mo na kanina
Let
na
her finish her
in-explain
question
sa'yo.
and then I will hear your objection, Counsel.
Sinabi mo na kanina na pinaliwanag sa inyo ni Ms. Acosta na galing kay Colonel Chica yung paliwanag ng urgency for the request. Tama ba?
Yes.
Counsel?
Your,
Asked and answered already, Your Honor.
Proceed, Attorney May.
okay. Yung, Mr. Ortonio, your salary grade 29, correct?
That's correct, ma'am.
And you're receiving roughly how much in salary monthly? Mr. Ortonio.
Your Honor, please.
What is the objection, Counsel?
Relevance.
This is
of the
very
question.
relevant, Your Honor. It goes into the credibility of this witness.
And if you can afford 150, Counsel, if you remember, Gina said the same yesterday. Witness will please answer the question.
Salary grade 29, roughly about 180, 190 gross.
So yung binigay mo ng na 150,000 from your personal funds, that's just around 40,000 short of your monthly salary. Tama ba?
That's correct.
Yes. Nung binigay mo ba ito, yung 150,000, may hiningi kang resibo, patunay na nagbigay ka ng 150,000.
At the time po, because of the urgency and dahil humingi po ng tulong si Miss Gina sa akin, I provided her with the request.
And were you able to recover the 150,000, Mr. Ortonio?
Unfortunately, ma'am, I was not reimbursed anymore.
You were not reimbursed.
Up to today, Mr. Ortonio?
Yes, Your Honor. I wasn't reimbursed anymore.
At etong 150,000 naman na ito, hindi ito nag-appear. Yung pagbigay mo ng 150,000, hindi ito nag-appear sa kahit anumang record ng Office of the Vice President.
No.
Hindi. Now, pumunta na tayo sa purchase of supplies. Okay, Mr. Ortonio, kasama sa sinasabi niyong pinaglaanan ninyo ng confidential funds ay ang purchase of or payment of purchase supplies, payments of tables and chairs, payment of desktop computers and printers. Tama ba?
Correct.
Okay. Ang mga desktop computer, printer, mesa at upuan ay mga bagay na hindi nauubos or tinatawag na non-consumable. Tama ba?
Yes.
Again, more than or almost 2 decades na kayo naglilingkod sa gobyerno. In fact, naglingkod din kayo bilang pinuno ng Human Resource Management Office nito. Alam niyo, Mr. Ortonio, ng ari-ariang binili ng pondo ng bayan or pera ng bayan ay pag-aari ng gobyerno. Tama ba?
Yes, I would
Yes.
say so.
At alam nyo rin na nakatala ang ari-arian ng gobyerno Ibig sabihin, yung mga government properties, these are recorded. May karampatang property number, property acknowledgement receipt, accountable officer at annual inventory. Tama ba?
Yes, if procurements through the regular
Yes.
funding.
At sinasubmit din ito, yung inventory na to, isinasubmit din ito sa opisina ng Commission on Audit. Tama ba?
Yes, yes, for the inventory.
Okay. Pero, aaminin mo, you will confirm na para dito sa mga purchase ng supposed supplies, computers, tables and chairs, wala kayong sinubmit na inventory para dito sa COA. Tama ba?
Specifically for these items, they were not reflected because of...
I'm not asking, yes, thank you very much, Mr. Ortoño. I'm not asking for the reason.
Your Honor, please.
I'm just asking whether or not you submitted an inventory to the COA. So,
Attorney Christine?
The witness is answering the question, Your Honor, if he can be allowed to answer.
Again, let it be a subject matter of cross. I think the answer given was sufficient already.
okay. And para din dito sa mga supplies na ito, wala ka rin wala rin binigay sa iyo na invoice or official receipt. Wala nitong, tama ba?
None.
Okay. Wala ka rin nakitang records ng sales invoices na to at mga official receipts sa buong record ng OVP. Tama ba?
None, ma'am.
Wala ring dokumento na magpapakita na ang mga bagay na ito ay i-donate ng OVP sa kahit sino man. Tama ba?
No record in
Yes.
terms of the donation.
Hanggang ngayon, ikaw personally, Mr. Ortoño, hindi mo rin maituturo kung nasaan na itong mga mesa, upuan, supplies, computers na nagkakahalagang 3.5 million. Hindi mo naman ituro kung nasaan sila.
Considering that these are procurements for confidential activities, no, ma'am, I would have no personal knowledge on where these items are.
And I would suppose wala ring nakapagturo sa office ng OVP kung nasaan itong mga mesa, computer, supplies na ito. Tama ba?
Your Honor, please.
Attorney Christine?
Speculative, Your Honor.
How is that speculative, Your Honor?
Or asking for an opinion.
How is that asking for opinion, Your Honor? I am asking whether, to his knowledge, there was anyone in the OVP who could point to these non-consumable items.
Her wording was, I suppose. She did not say to your knowledge.
Okay, then I withdraw. I drop, Your Honor, the phrase, I suppose. Mr. Ortoño, tama
Witness
ba?
may answer if he knows.
No, I would not have any knowledge also if there are other personnel in the office who would know in the OVP.
Okay. Conversely, hindi mo rin masasabi kung merong nakakaalam, kung talagang nag-i-exist itong mga mesa, tables and chairs, computers at supplies.
Your Honor, please. Already asked and answered and repetitive.
Move on, counsel.
Okay. Earlier, Mr. Ortoño, we just parked one item, yung certifications that were attached to the liquidation reports. You will confirm, Mr. Ortoño, that Vice President herself signed all those certifications.
Yes, ma'am, based on the documents that were presented.
By the way, Mr. Antonio, earlier you mentioned that you submitted PIORs. Did you ask Ms. Acosta and the security officer kung meron man, ano-ano itong mga threats na na-identify in the course of the disbursement of the confidential funds? Naitanong nyo ba?
No, I did not ask anymore, ma'am.
Okay. So just to summarize, Mr. Antonio, doon sa August 22, 2022 letter, may I request the technical booth to please flash on the screen.
Kindly flash the
Letter.
August 22, 2022 letter signed by Mr. Ortonio.
Just to summarize, in that letter, ang pinigay niyong paliwanag para sa confidential funds ay para sa tatlong bagay. Good governance program, functional representation, para sa travel ng Pangulo. Tama ba?
Can I see the document first? Ma'am, I'll confirm on the good governance, but on what we indicated, ma'am, is on the conduct of official engagements
Official
and
engagement.
functional representation
So
in domestic and in international and domestic events.
So three items, three projects, or three items. You have governance, good governance program, you have official engagements, and functional representation. Tama ba?
That's basically two, ma'am. That's the implementation for good governance program and conduct of official engagements and functional
Okay.
representation.
Thank you, Mr. Antonio. I stand corrected on that. So those two items. Pagdating sa PFP, ang justification for the 2022 PFP, ang justification was good governance program. Tama ba?
Yes, based on the documents earlier.
Okay. Sa 2023 naman, socio-economic delivery program.
Asked and answered, Your Honor, earlier.
I'm sorry, Counsel. What was the question, Attorney May?
For this 2023 certification, Your Honor, the justification was socio-economic delivery program.
Asked and answered.
On the assumption that she's winding up, Attorney Christine, because she said
Yes, Your
she's
Honor.
summarizing the points that were the points that the witness had already answered to. I will allow it. Witness may answer. Yes, Mr. Antonio, do you want the question repeated?
Yes, kindly repeat the question, ma'am.
For the 2023, ang paliwanag niyo para sa confidential funds ay dahil gagamitin ito sa socio-economic delivery program. Tama ba?
Yes, as indicated in the document earlier.
Okay. At sa mga certifications naman na isinumitin ninyo in response to the AOM, sinabi dito na ginamit ang confidential funds para sa surveillance to ensure that no untoward incident will happen. Tama ba?
Yes, based on the document
Based on
earlier,
the
ma'am.
document. At para naman sa sagot nyo sa AOM, pati sa NS, ang sinabi naman ninyo, gagamitin ang confidential funds para sa surveillance activity that would help you determine and identify areas kung saan i-roll out yung mga proyekto ninyo. Tama ba?
That's one of the
That's one of
the justifications that we indicated.
yes, which never appeared in the prior documents. Tama ba?
Yes.
Yes. So in short, nagbigay kayo ng 4 na bersyon, 4 na rason para sa isang pondo. Tama ba?
Your Honor, please.
I was expecting something, Attorney Christine. Yes.
Yeah, it's misleading, Your Honor. Apat na version and conclusion of fact.
Your Honor, if I may, Your Honor.
I'll allow it, Attorney Christine.
Thank you.
The witness is intelligent enough to be able to identify that indeed some answers were different from the previous ones they gave.
And just to set the record
I'm just
straight,
not
Your
so
Honor.
sure if it's four, but
Just to set the record straight, Your Honor, I did not say 4. I mentioned 5.
ang dinig ko nga apat eh. Ang dinig
Sorry.
ko apat eh.
4. Yes,
So
4.
I don't know the number of versions you have, but you do admit that several versions or explanations were given, not
For the same
for the
funds.
same expense.
There were different justifications.
Okay, different justifications for the same fund, for the same confidential fund. Tama ba?
Can
Yes.
I clarify?
Just say yes or no.
There were four explanations.
There were 4 explanations for the same fund. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So in short, paiba, you will also agree with me na kapag paiba-iba ang rason, maaring nagsisinungaling lang or talaga namang ito ay isa lamang scam.
Your Honor, please.
You and I both know, Attorney May, I have to sustain whatever basis for the objection Attorney Christine may
Yes, Your
give.
Honor. Move to strike the scam and nagsisinungaling.
So stricken off the record.
Last item, Your Honor.
Yes, proceed, Attorney May.
Okay, Mr. Antonio, kanina sinabi mo na si Vice President mismo ang humingi ng confidential fund sa simula pa lang. Siya ang humingi ng 250 million mula sa DBM. Tama ba?
Yes.
Siya rin ang nag-decide kung magkano amount ang ire-request. Tama ba? Ultimately, sa kanyang nanggaling ang desisyon. Tama ba?
Yes.
At pinirmahan niya rin ang approval para sa pag-release ng pondo. Tama ba? Through the disbursement vouchers. Tama ba?
Yes.
Yes. Pinirmahan niya rin ang mga liquidation reports at certification supporting the liquidation reports. Tama ba?
Yes.
Okay. In short, you will agree with me. This whole confidential funds matter, ang arkitekto at mastermind nito ay si Vice President Sara
Your Honor,
Duterte.
please. Your Honor, please. Objection.
Sustained. Counsel.
Mastermind. Move to strike, Your Honor, the
Your Honor,
statement.
may we request, Your Honor, that it remain on record?
May I request you likewise
Move to strike, Your Honor.
I will have to strike it off, Counsel. Kindly replace it with words that are more acceptable, such as that everything was approved by and with the consent of or with the full knowledge of. It's up to you. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Mr. Antonio, she was the architect. Yung confidential funds na to,
Objection, Your Honor.
kung paano ito i-disperse at gagamitin, i-utilize,
Objection.
siya ang architect ng buong ito.
I will have to sustain the objection again, Counsel. Allow me. Mr. Tonyo, lahat ng nangyayari at ginawa kaugnay ng confidential fund mula sa paghingi nito sa DBM, sa paggastos, kung paano ito ginastos, paano ito niliquidate, kasabay na yung mga sagot na binigay kaugnay sa OEM, Notice of Suspension at Notice of Disallowance. Lahat ito ay alam, nasa ilalim ng supervision, pinahintulutan at inotorisa ng ikalawang Pangulo.
Wait.
Gusto mo i-say ko?
Can you repeat, Your Honor?
Lahat ng bagay kaugnay sa confidential fund mula sa pag-request, sa pag-release, sa pag-encash, sa paggastos, sa pag-liquidate, sa pagsagot sa mga AUM, Notice of Suspension at Notice of Disallowance, ay una, nalalaman ng ikalawang Pangulo. Pangalawa, inotorisa niya base sa mga pirma niya sa iba't ibang dokumento. At pangatlo, ay nasa ilalim ng kanyang supervision bilang head of agency. Would that be an accurate statement or tell me if it's not?
Based on my understanding, sir, and based on what I know, sir, yes, the Vice President knows about the confidential activities and how it is being implemented.
I'll pursue it further. May ginawa ka ba na hindi alam o inauthorize ni Vice President Sara kaugnay sa confidential funds kasabay na yung pagsagot mo sa mga AUM Notice of Suspension at Disallowance?
None, Your Honor.
Lahat alam niya at inauthorize niya.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sa pagkakaalam mo, may ginawa ba si Gina o si Colonel Lachica kaugnay ng confidential funds mula sa disbursement, mula sa withdrawal, disbursement at liquidation na hindi nalalaman o inautorisa ng ikalawang Pangulo, if you know?
As to Ms. Gina and Colonel Lachica, Your Honor, I would have no personal knowledge on it.
Okay.
Your
Any
Honor,
final questions, Attorney May?
That would be all for direct, Your Honor.
Your Honor, please.
Yes, Attorney May, Attorney Christine, rather.
Before we release the witness and adjourn, Your Honor, there is a consensus, Your Honor, that we will ask the court, the respondent would like to ask the court to remind the prosecution, Your Honor, not to use inappropriate words, Your Honor, like scam, mastermind, nagsisinungaling. This is the third time, Your Honor, that we have heard those words, specifically the word scam. And this is a solemn proceeding. This is a court of law. This is a court of procedure and actually a court of decorum. And we are not supposed to make insinuations, accusations, or conclusions, Your Honor. So we request the court to kindly remind the prosecution.
Yes, I agree with counsel. Earlier, the court made an admonition and reminder to the counsel for the panel of prosecutors, but did not strike out those statements. But subsequent similar statements made were stricken off from the record by the presiding officer. But it does seem that it's becoming a, I would rather use the word habit than pattern, for the panel of prosecutors to close their direct with such strong statements. So kindly, yes, what is the pleasure of Senator Judge Cayetano?
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer, Mr. Senate President, dear colleagues. I'd just like to take note that so the presiding officer made a ruling. We all know the intention and the duties of the prosecution. We admire your passion in trying to prove your allegations, but we're also all aware that the medium is the message. So during the time of radio and even TV, you make that statement and then it is stricken off the record, it's forgotten. There's no, if I can use the word, mind conditioning. And in fact, when I first became a senator in 2007, talagang hahanapin mo talaga yung records. That's why even here, kapag ka may disagreements and medyo nadala ng emotion, pinapa-strike off the record. At pagka sa labas ng Senate nangyari, naghahamunan ng, you say that here, para magsagutan tayo. So the problem nga with coming up with words especially, and this is for both sides and even for the senator judges, when we use certain words that can be, sa Tagalog, bansag. Binansagan mo na na scam o scammer, binansagan mo na nagnakaw, etc. So personally, I don't mind if you use words that is already in your pleadings or in your articles of impeachment. But of course, it still should come from the witness unless you can frame it in a way that it's not only the dignity of the court. I'm just saying, let's all be aware that when we say it, even if we say withdrawn or even, both sides, kahit sabihin mong withdrawn na to, kahit sabihin mong nice try, etc. We know that that's for the cameras, not just for the court. Diba? Kasi kaming 24, whether we watch it here, we watch it in our cell phone, we watch it inside, kami magde-decide. But we all know we're also trying to convince you, not we. The prosecution and defense is trying to convince the public that either the Vice President or her office or whoever is guilty or innocent. So, yun lang, let's be circumspect without pointing fingers to anyone, both sides. Dahil nga, kapag may certain word na may not only negative but may emotional attachment, magva-viral na yan. And it will really affect the integrity not only of the court but of the decision sa huli. Diba? So I just like to agree with you and emphasize na, you know, in the future, if you say that nagkamali, let's not kid each other. No? Kahit kaming mga senator judges, nagkakamali din kami. Lalo pag nag-i-interview na or kaharap na yung vloggers or yung traditional media. But once masabi mo, it takes a life of its own, diba? Those words. So we have to really be more circumspect in choosing our words. Mr.
I will
President.
allow Attorney May to comment before we proceed with other administrative matters. Yes, Attorney May?
Well, Your Honor, we apologize if sometimes we get carried away by our zeal and our passion, Your Honor. But we at the prosecution, we just want to call a spade a spade.
Within limits,
But-
you may.
Yes, Your Honor. But henceforth, to borrow the words of my colleague, Your Honor, we will try to behave.
That will be part of the chair's ruling as well. However, since we're ending at 2:30, Attorney Christine, your cross will proceed tomorrow
Yes, Your Honor.
and redirect and recross as well. But with the permission of the counsel for the parties, the chair will begin the proceedings tomorrow with its ruling in regard to the August 12 manifestation of Attorney Sheila. So we will begin tomorrow with Attorney Ligutan, giving him his 5 minutes of explanation or not longer than that. The ruling, and then we'll proceed with your cross, Attorney Christine, and then your redirect and recross, if any, by Attorney May and Attorney Christine, respectively. In the meantime, before we adjourn, for the information of Senator Judges, according to the Senate President, we shall convene session at 3 p.m. The court acknowledges the report of the Clerk of Court with respect to the comparison of the acknowledgement receipts and directs the Clerk of Court to furnish a copy of its findings, which the presiding officer initially mentioned last week, to the counsel for the parties as well as the senator judges. So ordered. In relation to the condition of Edward Fajarda, I am in receipt of a report by Dr. Season, the Bureau Director of the Medical and Dental Bureau rather of the Senate, confirming the condition of Mr. Eduardo Fajarda, that he is recommended to have bed rest or to rest for 2 weeks, which began last August 20 and which shall end on September 3. Chair therefore instructs the Clerk of Court to issue the corresponding subpoena in the subsequent trial date on September 7, 2025 at 10 a.m. The court would also like to note and point out the manifestation yesterday of Attorney Sheila on the 5-day notice rule. When we checked the TSN, just to make sure, the 5-day notice rule applies to witnesses not mentioned in the pretrial order. In regard to witnesses mentioned in the pretrial order, it will not apply, although as the chair already stated yesterday, you still have enough time, Attorney Sheila, because I think you will be able to cross Colonel, who's the first, would you know, Attorney May, who's the first witness, if ever, that you will call a Colonel?
Colonel Boransing, Your Honor.
If at all, the cross-examination of Colonel Boransing will happen on a Monday, so you still have more than enough time to prepare for your cross of the good Colonel. Then Tuesday, then more than enough time. Yes, Attorney Sheila.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Your Honor, I would just like to return to the presiding officer's statement on the application of the 5-day ruling or schedule for the disclosure of the witness. If I may just be clarified, because as far as I recall, this 5-day ruling was a product of the proposal and counter-proposal between the prosecution and defense during the pretrial stage. In fact, when the prosecution submitted its proposal, its written proposal, the initial proposal by the prosecution was only for a 3-day prior period to disclose the witnesses. But we counter-proposed that parties be allowed at least 5 days so that each party may be given ample time to prepare for the examination of the witnesses. And so I'm partly confused, Your Honor, as to the statement that the 5-day rule only applies as to the witnesses who were not disclosed in the pretrial order.
When we checked, counsel, that was the ruling on the chair. In fact, twice. In fact, however, having said that, this situation is unique, as pointed out by the lead prosecutor yesterday, because their intended witness is unavailable because of an ailment, and that they had to fill in with a new witness who is in the pretrial order. And given the amount of time being spent on the witnesses and the interjection of judges, in any case, you will still have your 5 days, in fact, more than 5 days, Attorney Sheila, for this witness.
Yes,
and
Your-
the presiding officer will be conscious of the fact that as much as possible, the witnesses for the following week should be announced by the lead prosecutor on a Wednesday the week before.
Okay.
To afford ample time for both sides to prepare, even when it comes, when your time comes, Attorney Sheila, to
Yes,
present your
Honor.
evidence in chief.
I understand, Your Honor, but if I may just be allowed also to explain
Yes, ma'am.
further my concern. My concern is that if this is the new rule moving forward, that it would seem to me that there would be no more period or prior period to be observed in relation to the disclosure of witnesses for the following days or hearing dates, then that would be a concern, not only for the defense, but also for the prosecution when the time comes for the defense to present its witnesses. And so, and also, I recall that at the start of this trial, the court made it clear that, as the presiding officer had said, the parties must disclose their intended witnesses for the next week at the end of the hearing
Yes.
scheduled for the week prior. And so, even if I do not want to dispute what the presiding officer had said regarding the TSN or the records about this ruling, but just so parties are guided, may we now ask if the 5-day prior rule will still govern the proceeding moving forward?
As a
Your Honor.
rule, subsequent witnesses for the following week should be announced in open court the Wednesday of the previous week.
Okay,
So
Your
kung
Honor.
sino man po yung mga testigo, sa darating na linggo, Lunes hanggang Martes, Miyerkules, dapat sabihin na sa huling araw ng paglilitis ng linggo bago yung susunod na linggo. Maliban na lang, ulitin ko, kapag may pagkakataon tulad ngayon, na medyo kakaiba naman, para hindi masayang yung oras at panahon ng husgado, kakaintay sa testigong hindi maganda ang karamdaman. So as a rule, counsel, yes, and we will make sure to afford time. And if you cannot, if you need more time, the court will be lenient in order to provide adequate time to prepare in fairness for both parties, not only the counsel for respondent.
All right,
Your
Your
Honor,
Honor, we
please.
submit with that clarification.
Thank you.
Your
Yes,
Honor, Just for purposes of
Honorable Listro?
clarity, Your Honor.
Yes, Honorable Lisa?
Because we acknowledge that we are still adopting and maintaining the
5 days.
certain number of days required before the hearing for the succeeding week. But I understand the concern of Attorney Sheila from 5 days. Perhaps we can place it on record to change the 5-day notice rule to 4-day notice rule. That is to be consistent with Wednesday, Your Honor, as the submission of the witnesses for the succeeding week.
It's the same, counsel. Wednesday, Monday would be the 5th day, so that's still 5 days. It's not necessarily 5 days prior. Let's stick to what was originally agreed, and by way of exception, as the need arises, we will cross the bridge when we get there and still ensure that both parties will be given adequate time and will be given fair shake
Thank
to
you, Your Honor.
prepare
Just
for the witness.
one more point, Your Honor.
Yes,
Just
Attorney
to
Sheila?
avoid any ambiguity, may we also request a disclosure be made via email, Your Honor, so that the disclosure be received by the other party in a timely
Via
manner.
email
Thank you.
before the trial on Wednesday, because on a Wednesday, we'll hear it anyway.
We're
Attorney
okay
Sheila.
at the end of the trial day on Wednesday, Your Honor.
But we'll hear it anyway in open court.
Well, whether they do it in the morning or if they choose to do it after the hearing on Wednesday. Your
And
Honor. Thank you.
one more thing, Honorable Luistro, Chair would like to remind the prosecution to kindly submit the proposed circumstances or stipulation, facts for stipulation and documents for stipulation at least a day before the witness is set to be presented, so that the counsel for respondent will have ample time to review, study it, and hopefully shorten the proceedings by stipulating to it. Same ruling applies to the counsel for respondents when their time comes to present their evidence in chief.
We know the
We
instructions, Your
submit, Your
Honor.
Honor.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of Senator Judge Zubiri?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. Before we adjourn today's session, I'd just like to ask broad strokes, the timelines moving forward for the impeachment proceedings, because we're also entering the budget season. As a matter of fact, Monday to Wednesday, nandito na po tayo from 9 to, well, ako kasi majority leader po tayo, so I'm last to leave. So 9 to 8, nandito po ako, kasama na ibang mga kasamahan ko dito. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is hearing of our committees. And we have only one day to have our committee hearings. And so we just like to be guided accordingly. Once the budget starts being discussed, all departments will be coming here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday siguro, abot tayo ng Saturday. So wala nang pahinga yung mga staff natin. I just want to know from the presiding officer, what is the plan? Are we going to take this all the way up to December? Because Burr months are fast approaching. I think in 2 weeks' time, Jose Marichan will be singing again in all the malls. Kidding aside, we just need to be guided accordingly for our legislative calendar as well, Mr. President, presiding officer. Just broad strokes, maybe from the prosecution. Do we know, are we going to finish this before the December break? Because we want to know if we're going to continue all the way till February on this topic, so that in the legislative calendar, we can also make adjustments. Meron po tayong legislative calendar that we approve both houses. So at least kami, also, if there's an impeachment calendar, then we can be guided accordingly, because the chairman of the Committee on Finance is heavily stressed out. Every time I see him, he doesn't know how we're going to have the hearings all together, Mr. President, Mr. Presiding Officer. Just some queries, administrative queries, so that we can move forward and make both the impeachment calendar and the legislative calendar work for these two proceedings, which is basically the impeachment and legislation.
To respond to Senator Judge Zubiri in broad strokes, the presiding officer is optimistic and hopeful that we will complete these proceedings before the end of the year. Second, we will be having a more specific schedule for the impeachment once our chair of the Committee on Finance comes up with his calendar for the deliberation on the budget. Given that that is the most important piece of legislation that the Senate as a legislative body is supposed to pass, we have to allocate enough time for that to ensure its passage before the end of the year. Giving due consideration to the Bicameral Conference Committee as well as inputs coming from the House of Representatives through the GAB. So once that comes out, Senator Judge Zubiri, we can roughly give you a picture and idea with respect to the timeline and the schedule, and if we will shift, and if we will indeed shift, how and when. Also for the information of the parties. There be no other matters to take up and discuss. Again, tomorrow we shall have your first, the cross-examination of Mr. Ortonio. But before that, the comment of Attorney Ligutan, the ruling of the chair with respect to the August 12 manifestation of Attorney Sheila, and then redirect, recross, and intervention of the senator judges in relation to Mr. Ortonio, and if we still have enough time for the prosecution's next witness. There be no other points to take up. Trial is hereby adjourned until tomorrow, August 26 at 10 a.m.
At this point, tumungo na po tayo sa Senado para sa Day 18 ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte.
Let us rise for a minute of silent prayer. Amen.